is Jennifer and welcome back to my channel. So somebody requested that I make a YouTube video of like all of the foundations I have. So here I am. We're going to swatch all of them. I debated on whether or not I should like put it on my face and show you what it's like. But I feel like with this many foundations, my face would like literally be raw. So I'm just going to swatch them all on my arm. I'm going to do them like all in a row so that you can see them next to each other. And I've like sort of lined them up behind me so that I can kind of go from full coverage down to like lightweight coverage. So I'll probably timestamp this depending on the coverage just because I know it's going to be a long video. So let's just jump right in. Okay, so first I'm just going to go ahead and do like what I would consider a more full or heavy coverage foundation. Just so you guys know, my skin type is more of a combination oily, so my T-zone gets quite greasy throughout the day while my cheeks tend to stay on the normal side, and then in the winter it can get a little tiny bit dry, but I really just have like all sorts of, I guess, types on my face. So I generally like to look for something that will last throughout the day, not look cakey, not separate, have a good shade match, and overall just feel very comfortable on my skin. So the first foundation I want to talk about is this Estee Lauder Double Wear foundation. I don't actually like this foundation. I will not repurchase again. For one, it is in like a pour bottle, which like, if you're gonna charge this much for a foundation, at least put a pump on it, like honestly. So I'm just gonna put a little bit here on my hand, carefully, because it is not a pump bottle. And the reason why I actually don't really like this is because it sets so fast and it feels actually pretty drying. So here is what this shade looks like, and I will look up the shade here in a second. But it is one of those foundations where you need to work very quickly, otherwise it just like, it doesn't move on your face, and for me it's a little bit too drying. So I would say unless you are very, very greasy or oily, I would not recommend this one in particular. I know they have a couple of other different foundations that I think others have liked better that is less drying as this one. So this one that I swatched right here, this is shade 2N2, which is the shade Buff. This is more of like a wintry color for me, but like I said, I don't ever reach for it just because I don't really like the formula. So the next full coverage foundation is the Fenty Beauty foundation. This is their original foundation. This one's in the shade 230. This is their Soft Matte Longwear foundation. And I'm just going to squeeze this one out. This one does come in a pump, which is nice. This one, I would say, is a little bit easier to work with than the Estee Lauder one, but it's still like not very hydrating. It is still like very matte, and there's that 230 next to the Estee Lauder. It's a little bit lighter. This one is okay. Like, I would say I don't dislike it, but I don't love it either. I don't love it enough to repurchase, I guess is what I should be saying. You have to work very quickly on your face again, otherwise it sets very quickly. It doesn't feel as drying as the Estee Lauder one. It has very good coverage, and then throughout the day it doesn't really like to move or separate. So the formula is pretty good. It's just, for me, I prefer something a little more hydrating / less matte, just because I feel like I can feel this foundation on my face versus some of the other ones I can't feel as much. So next, on to formulas I absolutely love. This is the Maybelline Super Stay Foundation. I have this in 128 and 220, which is my summer and winter colors. I love this formula. It is my very, very, very favorite formula out of everything I'm going to show you today. I featured it in my 2019 roundup of favorite foundations. It is just so good and it is so affordable. So the reason why I like this is because it is just like the holy grail for people. I guess like for me with combination skin, I feel like it is hydrating enough without being super dewy, but it's not dry and hard to work with. Like, I can put this on my whole face and work it around before it sets, which is nice. And it stays in place all day. It doesn't look or feel cakey. It is a very good coverage, and if you keep your beauty blender a little bit more damp, you can actually get a more like medium coverage with it. So I like that it is like sort of adjustable depending on how much you want to apply to your face, versus the two in the beginning. I feel like you don't really have an option that's not full coverage. So let me see, this first one is 220 right here, and then this one is 128. So as you can see, those are the colors and that's the coverage. Like I said, love this. You'll see me use it all the time. I highly recommend it. I would not recommend it if you have dry skin. Like none of these I would actually recommend if you have dry skin, just because I don't feel like it's hydrating enough. So another drugstore foundation, this is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte. This one's in the shade 105. I actually wore this in the shade 104 for my wedding. And this formula is pretty good, and it is pretty long wearing as well. It sits nicely on your face. It is not too drying. It is kind of, not like kind of hydrating, but you know how matte foundations are. It's not dewy at all. It's not super matte, so you do still get sort of your normal skin kind of peeking out. It is a pretty full coverage foundation that you can build up, and I don't believe this one has SPF. No, this says it's a demi matte finish. Okay, I feel like that is a very accurate description of the L'Oreal Pro Matte. I know they also have a Pro Glow, which I would probably recommend more if you have dry skin. I've never tried it. The Pro Matte I feel like is matte enough without being drying. So I should mention that none of the ones that I've swatched so far have had SPF in it. If you are looking for something with SPF, like, we're going to talk about some of that stuff. So next I want to talk about the Bye Bye foundation and the CC cream from IT Cosmetics. So they both come in like a little pump tube, and the CC cream came out first. So let's swatch that one first. This one's in the shade medium, and then the Bye Bye foundation came out after that. And for me, okay, first of all, these guys have like no shade range. I feel like there's like maybe 7 shades total. Absolutely awful for shade range, I will tell you that. The CC cream I don't like quite as much, just because I feel like it is more greasy. Like, I feel like my face, the oil likes to peek out through the CC cream throughout the day, so I don't actually use this tube really anymore. When the Bye Bye foundation came out, I like this one a lot better. I feel like it still gives you a dewier finish. It doesn't like to stay in place, and it's not as long wearing as some of the other foundations, but they do feel really nicely on the skin, and they do have skincare benefits, which I think is really nice as well. And they are both SPF 50. I believe they are physical foundations. So let me see, this one right here is medium, and then this one right here is light. Like I said, their shade range is absolutely terrible, but I do like the Bye Bye foundation formula when I need something with SPF. And this is truly also full coverage, to the point where I actually mix some moisturizer in here when I don't want as much coverage. Because I still want the sunscreen and I still want the skin benefits, so sometimes I will actually also mix sunscreen in here just to get it to like spread more without being so foundation-y. Okay, so moving on to foundations that I would consider to be more medium coverage slash buildable. I am going to start with this ColourPop No Filter foundation. This one is in the shade Light 65. It's very affordable, and it comes with a pump. Like, what are you doing, Estee Lauder, that you don't have a pump on your foundations, honestly? Anyway, I find this formula to be okay. Obviously, for the price range, it is amazing. And it has quite a bit of shades as well, and this is what that looks like. It doesn't set very fast. It gives you like a very nice, more of a naturally finish. I don't feel like it's particularly matte. I don't feel like it's particularly hydrating either. It's kind of like halfway in between. I don't know why, and it might just be my model. For some reason, every time I use this foundation and I try to like photograph myself with it, I just feel like it makes my skin look a little bit dirty. I don't know if that's the right word, but it just like doesn't look as smooth and uniform on my skin as some of these other foundations that I like. So I don't use that one too terribly often. I do like to go back to it when I really want to give it another shot, but the formula is good and it feels good on your face as well. I just don't know what the deal is with like not photographing that well with it. I like the way that it sits on my face when you see me face to face. For some reason, it's just when it photographs, I don't find that it photographs all that well. Next up is this Too Faced Born This Way foundation. This is in the shade Light Beige, and this is actually my favorite high-end formula. I find that this stuff sits so well on my face. Like the Maybelline one that I really like, this one doesn't feel cakey at all. It stays in place all day. I feel like this is just a little more natural than the Maybelline one, so this last one here is in the shade Light Beige. And I really like wearing this one. Honestly, I wear this one quite often, especially when I like am this shade. It is very buildable as well, and it spreads really easily. So if you want a more lighter sheer coverage with this, you can still do that. Just make sure that your brush or your beauty blender is a little more damp when you're applying it. Or I have also mixed moisturizer with this to turn it into more of like a BB cream, and it works really well there too. So I feel like this is one of those foundations that is very versatile, and you can wear it kind of however you'd like. And comes in a pump. It's not actually like too pricey in terms of high-end foundation, so I have repurchased this one over again as well. Favorite high-end foundation. So another Too Faced one I want to mention is this Peach Perfect Comfort Matte Foundation. I do like this formula. I'm not this color, so I haven't worn it recently, but I love the way this smells. If you cannot handle fragrance, please do not buy this because it does smell like peaches. And I also have to mention that the shade names in the two Too Faced foundations don't match. So if you are like a warm beige or light beige in one, that does not mean you're going to be the same shade in the other one, which is really annoying. I don't know why they do that. But this one is in the shade Nude, which I feel like is just a little bit too pink for me right now, which is why I don't use it. But it has a very pleasant scent. It doesn't linger all that much, but if you are susceptible to fragrances, don't try it. It is in a pump. It is actually larger than 1 fluid ounce. This is 1.6 fluid ounces, so this is a very good deal for a high-end foundation, and this also sits really well on your face. I feel like this is less matte too. Like, I would say neither of these Too Faced ones are really truly a matte foundation. It's more of a natural matte, I want to say. This stays on my face. It sits well throughout the day. This used to be one of my favorite ones until it wasn't this color. So I would recommend this one for sure if you are combination skin. I would probably not recommend it if you are like super greasy or super dry on either end. So next I actually got this in a PR box. This is the Believe Beauty Foundation. I believe this is sold at Dollar General exclusively. It is like a $5 foundation. It comes with a pump. This is in the shade Soft Beige. I don't wear this very often, and I'm not really quite sure why. I think it's just a little bit too light for me right now, but it is actually a very nice formula for a drugstore brand. I would say it is more of a true medium coverage. It says medium to full coverage. I just feel like you have to layer on quite a bit for this to get to true full coverage, so I would definitely classify this as more of a medium coverage, but it does actually feel really nice on the skin. It says it's a skin finish, and I would agree with that. It's not matte, it's not dewy, it's very natural, and I do actually like this formula. I just don't really have a Dollar General close to me for me to like buy a bunch of different shades. But this is a nice formula if you are looking for something on the affordable side. Next, I have the Photo Focus foundations from Wet n Wild. I feel like people either love these or hate these. I personally do really like them. I feel like they are a true medium coverage as well. They're not super full coverage. It takes quite a bit to build it to be full coverage that I just don't really recommend it, honestly. But I feel like this is one of those foundations that will work sort of regardless of your skin type, unless you are like on either end of the spectrum, being really dry or really greasy. And it sits really nicely on the skin. It spreads quite thinly. It's a more like runny formula. So I believe, what are these shade names? This one's in the first one. This one's in the shade Soft Beige, and then this one's in the shade Golden Beige. And these are more my summer winter colors. And I do like wearing these when I do want a medium coverage. It doesn't cover all of my dark spots at all, but it does a good job with any redness or pimples. And like I said, it is really easy to spread. It is lightweight, which is why I wear it sometimes, just because I don't want to look cakey or feel cakey, and this is one of those perfect foundations for that, and it's affordable. So okay, last but not least, these are the more light coverage foundations, and so let me start with dropping things everywhere. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation. I have this in 2 shades as well. I'm actually wearing the 460 on my face right now. I would say this is like just on the edge between lighter coverage and medium. It is an SPF 25. I feel like nothing I showed you recently has SPF. Not a lot of foundations have SPF, you guys. This is an SPF 25 foundation, and I feel like it is, the best way to describe it is like your skin but better, and it is very buildable. So you can wear it as more of a lighter coverage, you can wear it as a more medium coverage. If you want to build it up to be a more full coverage like I am wearing right here, you can do that too. And it feels so nice on the skin. The only complaint I think I would have is just it doesn't smell all that great. I feel like it has just a little bit of a chemically smell, but it dissipates quite quickly. I don't know. I put up with it just because I love the formula so much. As you can see, it is definitely not a true matte. It is a, like I said, your skin but better. It is more of a natural finish, and I like that it has a little bit of SPF in it without being a full coverage, just because, you know, it works really well when I want to be a little bit lighter but still have some protection from the sun. So this one is in the shade 465, and then this, sorry, 460. Yes, 460, and then 440 is this lighter one down here. So I really recommend this formula if you can get past the smell, but it does feel really good on the face. You cannot feel it at all. So next is this Tarte Shape Tape Hydrating Foundation. This is their Double Duty Beauty, and this one's in the shade 22N, which is light neutral. It comes with like a big wand, and honestly, I don't find that this foundation is very high coverage at all. I feel like I put a lot of it on, and then as I'm blending, it just like disappears kind of. So I more have this particular shade. It's a little bit lighter. I use it as sort of like kind of under eye brightening. I would not use this. Where is it? Right here. I would not use this for a full coverage foundation. I just feel like with a name like Shape Tape, it should be full coverage, but I just don't find that it is. And it's not, I don't know, I feel like I can feel it on my skin when I try to build it up, and so that's why I don't. So it's not the best foundation out there. It works great for me right now as an under eye brightener concealer type thing, but I would not repurchase this. So next I have 3 shades from Shop Miss A, and I'm going to go ahead and drop these on my arm here, and they are all in a dropper bottle packaging. So these are very affordable. I want to say these are like $1.55 or something a piece. My gripe with it is that it is very sheer. It is very runny, and so I feel like even though the price is good, you need a lot of it to really cover anything up. So I don't know. I haven't really used this in particular, especially because like none of the shades really match me right now. They don't have a lot of shade range, but I think it's worth a shot if you're looking, you know, if you're really just like in a pinch and you don't have a lot of money to spend. Otherwise, this isn't something that I think I would repurchase at all either, just because it is just so light coverage. And when I was trying this, I was able to build it up into something, but it just took so much of it. So starting from the top is 307, 305, and 303 for the colors. And then last but not least, this is, I would say, the most sheer coverage I have. This is the MAC Studio Water Weight SPF 30 foundation. It also comes in a dropper bottle, and this basically is like, it feels like you're wearing nothing, which is nice, but it also kind of looks like you're wearing nothing. I just feel like all of your imperfections still show through, so if that's your thing, then definitely try this. Like I would never wear this sort of solo for any one of my makeup tutorials, just because it's not, I can't get it to be full coverage enough for me to like feel like it belongs on my channel. But it is very nice for if you want SPF and just want like a very barely there coverage. So this is the NC25 down here, and it does feel really light on the skin. It doesn't feel like you're wearing a foundation or a sunscreen at all. So if you are looking for something super sheer, then I would recommend this. Otherwise, like, I tried building it up and I just don't feel like I fully ever got there. So I think what I'm going to do now is I am going to take a still of this and just label all of the different foundations. That way, if you are looking for something that is matching one of these other colors you want to try, you can kind of see what the colors look like. On the end where my fist is, that's the most full coverage foundation, and then by my elbow is the least coverage. So depending on what you are looking for, I can just list them here as well. So it's been a very long video, I'm sure, but it was actually kind of fun getting all of my foundations to swatch and just kind of talk about why I like or don't like certain formulas. I know this is quite a bit of foundation. I buy a new foundation every time I stop matching, and I just have so many shades that I am throughout the year that I just get too lazy to mix. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. Let me know if there are any foundation formulas you think I should try. I'm definitely open to more. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy these like review type videos. I feel like these are the most fun to do. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!